Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports, Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over the NBA game for Thursday, July 1st, 2021. I'm going to show you highlights of each side, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for some reason you're curious to know how I'm picking these games, you have to join my Patreon. My picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the description of this video. I wish you guys the best of luck in your picks today. Let's go ahead and get into the game. We're going to be looking at the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5 between the Hawks and the Bucks. And this game's going to be really tricky because we don't know if Trae Young's going to be playing or if Giannis is going to be playing. I doubt Giannis is going to be in the game. I doubt he might even return for the remainder of the series if that bent knee looked as weird as it did. Trae, I'm not sure. I don't know. So, tough one. But before we get into that, I do want to say I made a video titled, "Are the Suns going to blow a 3-1 lead?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. If you watch that video, I simply raised the question. I still gave out both sides. I still mentioned Suns had numbers to close it out. But I was strongly considering a game 7 and possibly Lakers taking, not Lakers, but Clippers taking it. It's another LA team. They took out both LA teams, but I was seriously considering Clippers taking it in game 7. But in the end, on my Patreon, where I make my posts and I make my picks in writing, underlined, and italicized, I went ahead and went with the Suns, and I'm glad I did. I even put a little scratch on them, 65 to win 56. Nothing major. I'm not a big baller. I just do some bets here and there. And let's see if we can figure out this Hawks and Bucks game with two injured star players. Who are the Suns going to face? Is this going to go to a game 6? Of course, because the series is tied 2-2. But is it going to get pushed to a game 7? Let's see if we can find out or make some guesses here. The only reason why I would like this series, the Hawks and Bucks, to go to a game 7 is because if we look on what day the game 7 would be played, so this is the daily numbers on this side, what I call my date numerology, Gregorian Hebrew calendar. This side is what I call my game numbers. Away team up top, their season record, their coach's record, their head to, or not, or excuse me, not their head to head record, but their coach's record, their season record, and their postseason record. In the middle here is the head to head between the two teams. Bottom here is the home team, their season record, their postseason record, their coach's record. Up top here is information on the game. It's game 5. It's tied. Someone's going to go 3-2, 2-3. It's the 78th NBA playoff game for the season. I waited to do this game after the Suns and Clippers game just so you can see the home team record here for the NBA playoffs. Home teams can get their 43rd win or their 36th loss. If this goes to a game 7, it will be the 80th. So game 6 would be the 79th. Game 7 would be the 80th. And so looking at the day that game 7 would be on, here I'll count it out. So this is game 5. This would be game 6, which would be Saturday. Here's the 4th of July, Sunday. And then game 7 would be played on Monday if there were to be a game 7. And one reason why I like a game 7 potentially is because it would be the 5th day of July. It'd be 7/5, 5/7, like 75 or 57. And this is the 75th NBA season. And it would be a day with 33 and 53 date numerology on the Gregorian. And Hawks are 2 wins away from getting their 53rd for the season. And Bucks are 2 losses away from getting their 33rd loss for the season. If we go backwards and we go to Saturday, Saturday has 31 and 51 date numerology on the Gregorian. And if Hawks and Bucks in game 5, if Hawks were to lose game 5, they would sit on 51 wins for the season. And if Bucks win Game 5, they would sit on 31 losses for the season heading into Saturday, which is Game 6 on 31 and 51 date numerology. It will be the 184th day of the Gregorian, and the Bucks coach could head into that game with 418 all-time wins for his career. 418, 184 are just anagrams of each other. So if that were to happen, it could potentially set up Bucks to lose Game 6 and then Game 7, like I said, because they're only 2 losses away from getting their 33rd. Hawks are only 2 wins away from getting their 53rd. This is the 5 seed versus the 3 seed, like 53. Game 7 would be played on July 5th with 33 and 53 date numerology. The 75th NBA season, July 5th, 7/5. What could be not so good for the Bucks is 75 sums to 53. So maybe the Hawks advance into the NBA Finals with 53 wins. That's a long-term theory here for the next couple of days. Let's go to today's date numerology, July 1st, 7/1 for Game 5 date numerology. So what are some numbers here that could determine Bucks winning or losing, Hawks winning or losing? I don't have anything marked here, as you can see. One thing that would probably be good for the Hawks, not so good for the Bucks, is Bucks could get their 32nd loss as they sit on 32 home wins. 32 sums to 49. And 32 and 49 often travel together, I've noticed. And today does have 49 date numerology on the Gregorian. Also 29 date numerology. 29 sums to 49. And then the Hawks would become 3-2, like 32, head-to-head against the Bucks for the series as they get their 32nd loss, sitting on 32. The words Atlanta Hawks sums to 32 and 131, which is the 32nd prime number. They also sum to 193, which is the 44th prime number. And Hawks could become 4-4 head-to-head against the Bucks for the season with the win. On the flip side, though, this is well, actually, it would be the flip side. This would actually be still in favor of the Hawks. It's their 89th game for the season. If we write out 89, 89 sums to 116. And in Hawks' 89th game, they can become 11-6, like 116, for a postseason record this year, potentially. Today with 49 date numerology, 49 sums to 126. Hawks can get their 126th all-time head-to-head win against the Bucks. At the same time, we talked about the number 5 and 3, like 53, Bucks being the 3rd seed, Hawks being the 5 seed. The Bucks could become 5 and 3, like 53, head-to-head against the Hawks for the season with the win. Let's see what else we got here. What's interesting is if Bucks win Game 5, which is the 78th NBA playoff game, Game 6 would be the 79th NBA playoff game. 79 sums to 53. It also sums to 145. And if Bucks win Game 5, they can sit on 145 postseason losses with a win, as they sit on 31 losses with a win, as Hawks sit on 51 wins with the loss. And as I talked about, Game 6 on Saturday does have 31 and 51 date numerology. The 184th day, Bucks coach either can go in with 418 all-time wins or potentially get his 418th win on that day. 418, 184, anagrams of each other. There will also be 165 date numerology on the Hebrew Religious. So if Hawks lose Game 5, they would sit on 165 postseason losses, or excuse me, postseason wins with a loss, heading into Game 6 on Saturday with 165-day numerology on the Hebrew religious. So there seems to be future numbers here for Saturday that favor the Bucks to win Game 5. But at the same time, there are some 32s here that go against the Bucks that favor the Hawks. There's a 126 here that favors the Hawks. It's the 89th game. They could become 11 and 6. 89 sums to 116. It's Bucks' 44th home game. Atlanta Hawks sums to 32 in 193, the 44th prime. They could become 4 and 4 head to head against the Bucks for the season. So you can definitely make a narrative for the Hawks to win Game 5, and then you can start to make a future case for the Bucks to win Game 5 to head into Game 6 with specific numbers. And it's really just kind of a toss-up, especially when you throw in the added annoyance that we don't know if Trae Young's going to be playing. I don't think Giannis is going to be playing. But even with that said, we saw what happened in Game 4. Trae Young didn't start, and Bucks was a completely healthy team in the first quarter, and they still couldn't close the gap by 10 points on the Hawks. The Hawks led the whole time, and then Giannis got hurt in the second half, and it was just a blowout from there, basically. So who's to say that because Giannis is out and Bucks are at home that they don't blow out the Hawks in return in some weird cartoonish fashion? It could be really tricky, but I do kind of like the idea of a Game 7. Either which way, whoever wins Game 5 or Game 6, I'm hoping maybe it gets pushed to a Game 7. I think it would be interesting for it to be on July 5th, 7/5 for the 75th season. And if it does go to a Game 7, I probably would be favoring the Hawks since it had 33 and 53 date numerology. Hawks are only 2 wins away from that 53rd. Bucks are only 2 losses away from that 33rd. And if Bucks win one more postseason game, they would get their 137th postseason win, which is the 33rd prime number. And if they lose 2 more, they would just, if they win one, like say they win Game 5 and then they lose Game 6 and 7, they would be sitting on that 137, which is the 33rd prime, as they get their 33rd loss for the season on a day with 33 date numerology and 53, the 3 seed versus the 5 seed. 75th NBA season, 7/5. If it gets pushed to Game 7, I'm looking towards the Hawks. But for Game 5 and Game 6, it's a bit of a toss-up. I kind of do like the Bucks in Game 5 just because of the numbers for Saturday, 31-51 and the 184. Bucks can sit on that 31. Hawks can sit on that 51. But then in Game 6 would be, okay, Hawks have to force a Game 7, do or die. Then they probably do. And then in Game 7, Bucks lose it at home, I guess. Which would suck for the home team fans. But they did it with the Clippers in 6. And they did it with the Nuggets in 4. They did it with the Lakers in 6 at home. They did it with the Nets in 7 at home. They did it to the Sixers in 7 at home. So a lot of the teams that have been advancing on their opponent's home court. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this gives you insights. Hopefully you're able to build on top of this. And I wish you guys the best of luck in your picks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support.